Okay, Gracie. Now, today we're going to be talking about measurement and measuring things. Measurement. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about. So first, I'm going to give you some examples. Have you ever seen your mom bake a cake, or maybe
I baked a cake.
You baked a cake before? So you know how you have to get your measuring cups, and you have to do like 1 egg, or maybe you need to measure a half cup of water or a half cup of milk. You need to put flour. So people measure ingredients to bake a cake, right? Or just like if you look at this door, somebody had to measure to see if the door would fit in the door frame. So when you measure something, so say measure. Can you say the word measure?
Measure.
Measure means to find the size, how long, or the amount of something. So you're going to find how big something is, how long something is, how small something is.
Is it that cereal box over there?
We will use that cereal box, and we will measure it in a little bit. Another thing we're going to talk about today is the length. Can you say length?
Length.
Have you ever heard of the word length before? So when we talk about measuring things, the length is how long something is. And so we will get to practice today measuring and seeing how long things are, okay?
Can you do it right now?
We're going to do it in just a minute. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is size.
The size is a little bit.
So the size is how big or small something is, right? So we measure our size by weighing ourselves. Have you ever seen anybody stand on a scale and weigh themselves? Have you ever seen that before or heard of it?
Well, I did. Like, there is a measure there. And she's the doctor, and it like.
Yeah, they measure how tall you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
How high, and then you step on the scale and they take your weight. So the doctor is measuring you. That's a good example, Gracie. So today we're gonna.
Another one, Papa, at his house, he has a measure, and he measures us.
Yeah, he measures, how tall y'all are getting every so often. So we're gonna talk about measure, length, and size, and we're gonna practice measuring some things. Okay, but first we're going to model. So the first thing that you and we're going to do it together. The first thing we're going to measure is this table. We're going to measure the length of this table to see how long it is. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do it with our hands. I'm going to show you. So you'll use your hand, and you see can you spread your hand out real wide like that where you stretch? So you'll measure from your pinky to your thumb, and you're going to use your other hand to help guide you. So I'm going to show you me measuring the table, and you can count with me, okay? Will you count with me? All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we gotta keep going. 11,
12,
12. So how long is this table? 12 hands. We say that it's 12 hands long because hands is what we use to measure it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I used my hand, I found out that the length of this table was 12 hands. But now I want you to do it. So can you show me you measuring with your hand? Let's move the chair back so that way you can, or do you want to come on this side?
Yeah.
Let's come on this side so that way you can help me. You can measure as well. All right, start from the end, but be all the way over to the end. And I'll move this chair back. So you start with, remember, spread them out as wide as it can go. This one. Are you going to use this hand?
I'm just going to use.
You want to use this hand? Okay. So we'll start with this one. And then you'll measure. You'll do 1. Bring it around. Wait. Remember, start here. Bring your thumb. 1, 2. There you go. Keep going. Wait. 3. Keep it close together. 3. 3.
4.
4.
5. I think I got it.
You got it now? Okay. 6. Keep counting. 6.
6. 7.
7.
8.
9.
9.
Start going over the other way. 10.
10.
Keep going. You might have a bigger number than me. Keep going. 10. So you're at 10.
10, 11,
11.
12, 13, 14,
15. So when you measured it with your hands, how many hands did you get? 15. So let's go ahead and write that on the board.
15, can I draw it on the board?
Well, it's a little high, so I'm going to go ahead and write it, okay? All right. And go back and go back around. So we have 15 hands. So I had 12 hands and you had 15 hands when you measured. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to push these chairs in, and we're going to use our feet to measure the length of the floor from that wall to that wall. So I'll model how to do it, and then I want you to do it, okay?
I made it where I can get. I made it where I can get the whole room in frame.
You can stand right there, but I'm gonna go ahead and measure with my feet, and then I'll let you measure, okay? So you see, I'm gonna do 1, 2. So I'm gonna put this is 2, 3, 4, 5. You can count with me. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay.
Did you see that, guys?
All right, come on, Gracie. So I got 18 feet. Now I want you to walk and you measure how many feet you get, okay? So you just start from that wall and put one foot in front of the other. So you've got 1, 2. So you want to count? Go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16,
Here, go around the chair.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22,
And start
23.
23. So when you walked from this wall to that wall, you measured the length of the floor. So how long is the floor?
23.
23 feet.
I'm going to try it.
That's a little high up there. Here, if you want to get up here, let's see if that'll help you reach. And you put 20, we're on the floor, so put 23 right here.
20, so
You just put 2,
2,
2,
and 3.
and a 3. And the length of the floor was 23 feet. Okay, now we're going to move on. Go back around the table.
Bye, guys.
And next, we are going to measure the length of this cereal box. And we're going to use these paint jars. We're going to stack them. We'll stack them and see how many paint jars it takes to measure the length of the cereal box. So can you stack them next to the cereal box?
Sure. Look.
No.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 jars.
5 jars. So the length of the cereal box is 5 jars.
I want to write it in.
You want to write it in? Come on.
5 jars.
How many, Gracie?
5 jars.
So you're going to write, look, this is cereal box and right here. 5 jars. So it's 5 paint jars.
I need a different one.
Yeah, you need a different one. Let's see. Let's try this one. See if that one works better. Oh, right here.
Yeah,
Right here, Gracie.
Oh.
All right. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna measure. Oh, careful. We're gonna measure the cereal box one more time, but we're gonna use a different unit. So we used paint jars to measure the length of the cereal box. But now we're gonna use scissors. Grab that thing of scissors. Be very careful.
What is that called, Gracie?
Scissors.
I'm gonna turn this on its side, and I want you to lay scissors along here and see how many scissors, and when you lay them lay them like this, okay? So how many scissors does it take to measure the length of the cereal box? As you put it down. Oh, you see. 1.
Free scissors.
3 scissors, okay.
3 scissors.
So you measured that it was 3 scissors
3
for the
scissors.
length of the cereal box.
I want to draw it.
Okay.
I like to draw.
See? Oh, careful. So now, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and write it right here. So you'll put 3.
Right here.
Yep, right here. Okay. And then if you'll go back around, we're gonna talk about some things. Okay? It's okay, we're gonna sum up what we did.
But I want to stay here.
Well, we'll finish, we'll stay a little bit afterwards. So go ahead and go back around, go to your seat.
I don't want to draw one because
We will. Okay. So we're gonna talk about what we noticed. Let me see, I'll go ahead and put these back on the shelf. Thank you. So we practiced measuring the length of the table, and we found that for you, the table was 15 hands long, right? And then you measured the floor with your feet. And so when you measured the floor with your feet, we found that the length of the floor was, what was this number again? Do you remember? 23. It was 23 feet, right? And then we measured the length of the cereal box with paint jars, and when we used the paint jars, you got 5 paint jars for the cereal box. But then when you used scissors, you had 3. Why do you think, and we can look at it, why do you think that when you used the paint jars, you used more, you had more paint jars, so there's 5, but it was only 3 scissors? What's the difference?
Because the box is little and like scissors are little.
Well, if you look at the paint jar and you look at the scissors, which one is bigger?
Well, the scissor is.
The scissor is. So do you think that's why you had less scissors going up the side?
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. You might hurt yourself. So, excuse me. Whew. Sorry. So we noticed that because the paint jar was smaller, it took more of them, so it took 5 of them to match the length of the cereal box. And because the scissors are bigger, it only took 3 of them to measure the length of the cereal box.
Yeah.
Do you understand that it was because the units were a different size?
Yeah, because the different size, we we're gonna have this like this one, it would just be 1.
Yeah.
And but we added a few more to go up here.
Yeah. And so now what we're going to do is I want to ask you, Gracie, what are some things that we could measure just in general? And we measured today, we measured the table, we measured the cereal box, we measured the floor. What else could we possibly measure in this room?
I know.
Well, you don't have to get up, but just tell me. What else do you think we can measure? Well, we're not doing that right now, okay? But we will in a little bit. So if you can just tell me. We can measure pencils. And then what is something we could use to measure something else? You know how we used our hands, we used our feet, we used paint jars, we used scissors. What else could you use to help measure something? What do you think?
Books?
You could use books to measure the length of the cabinet. That's very good, Gracie. And so now, can you tell me in your own words what measure means? Do you
Measure
remember?
means it's the most.
It's the most? Do you mean like the size? Is how big or small, right? Measure, remember when we measure, we're finding out the length of something or the amount of something, okay? And then do you remember what the length means? Oh, bless you.
Is
how long something is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you did very good today, okay? You can give me a high five. You did very good, Gracie.